Or here's just a couple off the top of my head, all right? Your wife's a bully. Her former press communications person who worked for both you and your brother, Jason Knopf, is on the record about the bullying she committed against people who were younger than she was, or who are less powerful than she was within the palace, who she made cry all the time.
Are you sure about that?
One of the other people that she apparently made cry was Princess Kate. She told Oprah that Kate made her cry, but now we know from your own book, Harry, that it was Megyn calling Kate a baby brain. It's your baby brain, after she gave birth to her third child.
What?
To explain Kate's complaints about Meghan's wedding plans. All right? That's not polite. That is rude, as Prince William later told you in referring to your wife. That has a tendency to make people not like you.
Fact.
When you have the nerve to comment on their hormones after they just had a baby when you barely know them. Number 2, she's a brat. We know from Dan Wootton's reporting, which is, you can take it to the bank. Dan's reporting. He's got very solid sources. He broke Megxit and he was right.
What?
That she was upset about her tiara. She wanted the one and she couldn't get it because it had some stone that was controversial, etc. And Harry said what Megyn wants, Megyn gets, and the Queen had to reprimand him.
Boy.
That's the kind of story that makes people dislike you, within the royal family and without. Your wife abandoned her entire family. That's another thing, in favor of celebrities at her wedding.
Come on now, dog.
She cut ties with virtually everybody whose shoulders she had stood on her way up the fame scale, just as soon as she met you.
Why? Why?
Well, that seems a little rude too, kind of disloyal, also annoying. And then what was George Clooney doing at your wedding? You didn't know him. She didn't know him. That's who she had there instead of the sweet cousin or stepsister, whatever it was, who she had supposedly grown so close to. You said that in your Netflix documentary. She forgot that girl. She ghosted her because apparently she didn't make the grade. Never mind her step-siblings and so on. Half-siblings. Your fights with the press. You two look like a couple of whiny babies, and it's been going on for years.
And?
How many lawsuits have you filed against the Mail and so on? Forget the lawsuits, though. It's your whiny statements about the nasty press. Every single celebrity deals with it. You don't think George Clooney's had negative things written about him? Tom Cruise had negative things written about him. He doesn't use his speeches or his media appearances to whine about the mean media. They say the things that aren't true. We're sick of it. Shut up about your negative press coverage. Does somebody like Beyonce, who you love so much, look for a negative, obscure comment online as representative of her experience with the press and then act like a victim because of it? No.
God, please, no!
No, she doesn't. Because she understands she's had a similar experience to the one that you and your wife had for the vast majority of your time in the public eye. Absolutely fawning media coverage. You're the ones who made it turn.
What is he doing?
You. Not Prince William, not King Charles, not Camilla. You. They've given you fawning coverage. It is the opposite of what you are claiming, and it makes people dislike you. These constant complaints. Okay, here's another one. You're a leaker too. You're upset that the royal family leaks on you. You leak just as much as they do.
Boring.
You use Omid Scobie, your little stenographer at Harper's Bazaar. You use People magazine. But we all see what you're doing while you claim you have clean hands, and you absolutely do not.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
Here's another one. You abandoned the royal family in their greatest time of need. Both of you. You planned Megxit and executed on it. For one thing, when Prince Philip was dying in the hospital, you sat down with Oprah and called the royal family a bunch of racists.
What?
By the way, they now deny that. We'll get to it. You didn't care. And you didn't even have the decency to rule him out or the Queen when you knew he was in the hospital. And very elderly man, your own grandfather. No, still wanted your moment in the sun with the Queen of Montecito. Well, when the actual Queen Elizabeth, your grandma, was in the hospital, you two were sunning yourselves out in California. Everybody on the royal family went out there and upped their royal duties so that she could be rest assured the family still had her back and was representing the royal family, not you two. You were in the midst of your wine-a-thon out there on the West Coast.
So that was a f***ing lie.
You were happy to call her family racist when she was in her last year on Earth. You made the Queen's stress level go up, not down, when she was at her most aged and infirm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You two both constantly play the victim. That's our number one complaint about you, despite the enormous privileges life has handed you. This is why we can't stand you. And it probably irritated your brother and your father and your mother-in-law too.
Appointment
is immeasurable.
Right? You go out on Oprah, you and your wife, and want us to care about what title your kid is going to get or how big your castle is, like you complain about in Netflix. What color designer dresses you were forced to wear in your wife's case.
Here we go again.
Without stopping for 2 seconds to acknowledge the struggles of real people. No one cares about your kids' damn titles or your tiny castle or your beige dress.
Okay.
No one feels sorry for you, but you continue asking us to do so. And we're sick of it. Right? Your wife even wanted us to accept her as a Me Too victim, saying she'd been objectified. She was objectified because people looked at her on the set of Deal or No Deal and didn't want her opinion on inflation.
That doesn't make sense.
She was objectified. No good deed goes unpunished. They give her the role of a lifetime. She was a total unknown, put her on national television, gave her beautiful dresses to wear, did her hair and makeup, and all she can remember is, they told me to suck in my stomach and didn't pronounce my name correctly. I was objectified. What the hell do you think a model does? That's what you were on that show. You were a model. People pay to look at you. That's objectification. Deal with it. Or don't. But don't take the money, climb the ladder of success, and then show absolutely no gratitude and complain that you were objectified. Fact. That's why you got a paycheck. You and she both lie. A lot, especially your wife. Oh, I was told by the guy in The Lion King that people hadn't celebrated like this when I married Harry, like they did since Mandela was freed. Lie. Lie, as the Lion King cast has come out and said. You claimed your baby was in grave danger when there was a fire in the nursery when you did the overseas trip. He was nowhere near the fire. It was smoke out of an errant heater, and he was nowhere near it. He was not in danger, but you did that to make yourself look more aggrieved.
What do you mean by that?
Than in fact you were. That's a pattern with you. You suggested the royals are racist, as I mentioned, without a scintilla of truth. Now you reverse that, and you blame the press for that too. All right?
What?
Right? By the way, these two, as they now claim that they never called the royals racists, that's what Harry's claiming, that neither he nor his wife ever called the royals racists, despite what we heard in the Oprah interview. They accepted an award like 2 weeks ago in New York City for standing up to, and I quote, the structural racism within the royal family. That was Carrie Kennedy, whose family was presenting them with the award. Did they stand up and say, this is an outrage?
That doesn't make sense.
Our family's not racist. We never said such a thing. No, they took the award and loved every second of it. So spare me now that the blowback has been bad, that you didn't call them racist because you did. We saw it. It's on tape. You constantly lecture the so-called little people on how they need to be better people, more like you, we guess, while showing zero appreciation for their problems, right?
So that was a lie.
Harry had the nerve to lecture us on white supremacy and white privilege. Then their Netflix documentary calls all Brexiters racist if you were in favor of Brexit, which the majority of Great Britain residents were. You're racist.
What the hell?
She's out there telling us don't call women difficult. By the way, we now know that's what Prince William called her. So like I said before, that whole Spotify series she did was her working out her own issues. She doesn't want you to be able to say women are difficult because that's what Prince William said about her. Don't say diva. Don't say bitch. I'm sure they called her that too. You're hypocrites. You lecture us on the environment and how we need to go green and do better as citizens while you're on your private jets and your SUVs with your enormous mansion out in Montecito saying reportedly it's not big enough or good enough for you, right? These are the reasons why we can't stand you. I'm giving you the specifics you so desperately want. You lecture us on kindness and how to be nice and be kind while you bully the little people around you. Half your staff walks out every other week because they can't stand working for you. What does it take to make somebody walk out on working for a royal? Probably a lot. Right? Is it over? Is Harry finally done with his incessant whining and the demonization of his family? I don't think so. I don't think it's done by a long shot. He's out there giving these interviews. I'm really hoping this is it, so we don't have to keep talking.
Clearly, the Daily Mail, who have very good royal sources, are leading on this today. And it is of interest I think it will annoy a great many people who can't get over it. In fact, so many of you got online straight away going, no!
Is he all right upstairs?
In that sort of slow motion way. And it's because there is really big news that Prince Harry wants to come back in some way to the UK.
Wow.
And is beginning now to court advice from British advisors. In fact, as you were saying earlier, he apparently on WhatsApp has been getting hold of old friends who haven't heard from him in several years. But he's WhatsApping them, asking their advice, and apparently has either already taken on board a British PR company or is at least at the moment seeking advice to do that.
Good job!
In a way, to maybe very slowly rehabilitate himself and his image in the UK.
The question is that possible? Well, this major move is being branded as Operation Bring Harry In from the Cold, as he's allegedly growing dissatisfied from advice from American-based image experts.
Sorry.
Well, let's talk to the historian and author Martin Whittock, who joins us now. Martin, do you agree that actually it feels like we're being warmed up?
Let me put it in a language you can understand.
Yes, I think so. As you intimated just now, there's reports of them just not getting on well in the Californian exile. Reports of self-imposed exile, I should add. Reports of the couple having parted company with another American PR advisor. It seems this is the 10th staff member to have left the Sussexes in 3 months.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
In August, it was reported that their chief of staff had left after just 3 months. So clearly, things are not working out in the USA for the Sussexes as they originally planned. And interestingly, there are also reports that the King has discussed the matter with faith leaders, showing that he is open to some kind of reconciliation.
Ha! Gay!
But boy, this is going to be quite an ask and quite a journey after the turmoil and hurt over the past 4 years. And it's difficult to see exactly what the plan would be, although there's talk of low-key royal duties, starting from maybe some very, very non-public facing things, but basically a steep mountain to climb to win hearts and minds back of the public, let alone within the royal family.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
There's talk that William, Prince of Wales, and Harry are both due to be in New York this September on separate ventures, both environmentally connected. So there may be some kind of low-key connection there.
Okay.
But this is going to be an extremely long journey back after all the Sussexes have said and done over the last 4 years. Not an easy ask to come in from the cold in this particular case, I'm afraid.
Is reconciliation possible, do you think, Martin, not only with his father, not only with his brother, but also with the British public? Because looking at our views today, lots of people emailing in just saying it's too little too late. He's made his bed now and he's got to lie in it.
Yeah, right.
I think you've identified 3 main areas there, and they are crucial. Addressing them one at a time, I think it would be possible to seek reconciliation with his father. It's clear that King Charles is deeply distressed, understandably, by this rift within the family.
Fact.
I could see reconciliation taking place there, if slowly. It's harder to envisage it happening with William, Prince of Wales. Obviously, I mustn't speak for him, because the wounds there have gone very, very deep, and the kind of things that Harry has claimed there will clearly have wounded his brother greatly. With regard to the British public, well, that really is going to be, in some ways, the hardest ask of all, because from the enthusiasm which accompanied, in many quarters, the marriage of Harry and Meghan, what seemed like light years ago, don't they? Such a long time ago, the fall in popularity, because of the actions of the Sussexes, I think more than any other factor, has been quite precipitous.
What do you mean by that?
And I think the idea of building that trust with the British public again is going to take a very, very, very long time indeed, if in fact those burnt bridges can be rebuilt. So the King, I think, yes, that's possible. I think it's going to be very difficult with William, but boy, it's going to be a very long journey with the British public, and it's going to take quite a lot of contrition, I think, on behalf of the Sussexes.
Are you serious?
I don't think it's just a question of coming back to low-scale duties and then slowly building them up again. I think people will be looking for some acceptance of responsibility on their part for the state that they've come to. But faith leaders will no doubt have told the King that reconciliation is to be sought if possible, and I would agree with that if it's possible, but boy, what a journey.
Bruh, chill.
Yes, but you have to sort of conclude that maybe anything's possible when you look at the journey of Camilla, who is now Queen, and I know there are people watching right now who still don't accept that.
Yes, exactly.
And will never forgive her. But you probably have to accept that the majority of people do and have forgiven her. Mind you, she's never said a word, unlike Harry. But maybe Harry has begun to recognise that this will be a long, slow process, and he might as well start it now, because it may take over a decade.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
I think you make a very good point there, because Queen Camilla is really a lesson in reconciliation and in journey back from what would have been a very, very, very low point following the death of Princess Diana. But you also make the point there, and I think absolutely rightly so, that Queen Camilla has been extremely discreet. She has not gone public. She's not claimed other people are to blame for this. And obviously Harry has been very vociferous, as has Meghan, which is why I think there will need to be at some stage in this journey, and I stress a long journey if it's to happen at all,
I don't like where this is going.
some significant degree of contrition from the Sussexes. Basically, in spiritual terms, repentance comes before restoration, and I think we must not forget that R, repentance, as well as the other R, restoration.
Stop it. Get some help.
I just can't see how it's going to happen, because I can understand Harry coming back, because I think, bottom line, don't we still have some sort of love for him? But I can't see Meghan ever saying sorry, can you?
Women.
And that